I would like to thank my patrons for sponsoring today's video. Thank you, patrons. You guys are the best. If you also want to support me or you want your name up here on the screen, you can check out my Patreon. It's linked down below. Also, quick heads up that this is going to be a long video and not all of it is going to have a voiceover. So like there's some segments of voiceover, but there's also just a lot of like music and art footage. So if you're down for that, I hope you enjoy. If not, you can always like put on something else, put on a podcast episode or something, and like I'll keep you company while you draw. But yeah, I think it's good music, so I think you should be fine. Okay, enjoy. Hi friends, my name is Al or Lilstarnerd. Today I'm drawing in my sketchbook. Well, this week. My last sketchbook and this sketchbook, I have had a difficult time using it. I've just been really busy. Now that I've published my Skillshare class and that's out of the way, which go check out my Skillshare class linked below. Now that that's over with, like I will have a lot more free time. I hope, I think. I think the main issue was that I did not have a lot of free time to do personal art. And I really want to get back to that. I feel like I'm not making sense. I feel like I didn't explain, I haven't said anything. I want to draw a lot in my sketchbook this week. That's what I want this video to be. I want this video to be like a week-ish, 10 days, I don't really know, just in my sketchbook. I just have been super behind. Last sketchbook, I like really struggled to make it, to finish it. I think I left a few pages blank if I remember right. My memory is so bad. I was really struggling to get through that sketchbook. I couldn't keep up with it. If you don't know, I keep like, see these little tabbies? That's like to mark where I need to be by the end of the first month, second month, and then the third month. And I was really like behind. I'm not super behind with this one, but I do want to finish it kind of early, so I have not that long to finish what's left. And earlier this month, I was pretty behind. I've caught up a little bit, but I'm still kind of behind. And I know what you're thinking. Just don't do 3 months. Stop giving yourself a time limit. Do whatever. And I get that. That would make sense, especially because this is the second sketchbook in a row that I've struggled to complete within the time limit. But I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn and I'm not willing to give up yet. Especially because now that I should theoretically have more free time, I don't want to give up on something that I really feel benefits me. So I'm gonna just try again, and if it keeps happening, then we'll consider changing the 3-month rule. But for now, I just want to spend a week like giving myself some time to dedicate to personal art. I haven't had that time lately, and I want to make that time. I have a pretty decent chunk of my sketchbook that needs to be filled, and I'm not trying to fill all of it, certainly not this week. I'm not even trying to draw every day. It's not a challenge. I don't have rules. I don't have really expectations. Really, what I want to do is listen to my gut, have fun in my sketchbook, just find time to draw, make time to draw what I want to draw. Whether it's good art, whether it's bad art, whether I try really hard or I'm just doodling. I just want to do what I want to do. I want to enjoy my sketchbook again. So like 2 major goals, learn to enjoy my sketchbook again, because I really feel like I have not done that in a while, and get as much done as possible in this small time frame. Some bonus achievements would be figuring out the March Patreon sticker and postcard, but no pressure, and maybe doing one thing worthy of becoming a print. But again, no pressure. I just want to enjoy the sketchbook. That's my main goal. I'm starting this February 25th on a Saturday, and I think I might end somewhere around like the 7th or 8th of March. So a little over a week and a half. And I'm just gonna, maybe I'll end sooner. I don't know. This is a very chill video, I think. This isn't like the last completing a sketchbook where I, had a prompt list and did something very specific every single day. I might not draw every day. I don't know. I'm tired. I've been doing a lot of hard work. I'm still honestly feeling kind of burnt out a little bit from the holidays. I just want to be nice to myself. I just want to have some fun. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna stop talking. Let's start drawing. Let's go. At the beginning of this challenge, for lack of a better word, although it definitely wasn't a challenge in my mind, I was really unmotivated and unsure where or how to start. I knew I obviously wanted to spend time in my sketchbook, but really had no inspiration or ideas or an active desire to do so. That was obviously the driving force behind this whole idea, right? I missed my enjoyment of my sketchbooks and I was sick of not getting to use it. But I feel like over the past few months, I've formed this habit of essentially avoiding my sketchbook at times. Not always, just sometimes I get in this mindset that's very I just can't use it. I don't have the time, whatever. So I really wanted to work on that. I wanted to bring back my love for sketchbooking, which is actually one of my goals that I talked about in my art resolutions video, was cultivating that relationship again. Did I forget that that was a goal? Yes, I did. I happened to be looking at my post about this year's resolutions, and I saw that it was a goal, and I was like, oh, perfect. That really lines up for me. But yeah, I just started out still stuck in that place of not knowing what to do. I was on square one, fresh start, not in the right mindset yet. And I couldn't think of anything that I wanted to draw. Everything seemed like a bit too much work, too much effort, or I'd done it before. I was really considering pushing off the start date for a few days until I did have an idea, like until I did want to do it. But then, I never would have started, right? So I thought, let me take away half the work here. And I did an Instagram story doodle request. I had you guys send in little ideas for doodles for me to draw. And it's so funny. Every time I do this, which isn't super often, but every time, people either must want to take advantage of the opportunity to tell me what to do, or they really misunderstand the instructions, because I'll get these really intricate prompts, very in-depth stuff, or requests for whole ass fan art, again, whole pieces, or draw my dog in my profile pic, do a free commission for me. And I just find it so funny every time. It just really entertains me. I'll be okay, give me a quick doodle, and people will be do an entire masterpiece. I'm okay, interesting prompt. I genuinely appreciate the people sending in those requests. You're really taking life by the balls, and I respect it. I really do. Those people, they're great. Anyways, I tend to get a lot of the same requests: a frog doing something, a frog in a cowboy hat, lots of different types of animals and party hats, which I know is kind of my thing. Party frog and birthday boy manatee are pretty well known as part of my branding. But I gotta be honest, I don't always want to doodle those things. So this session was still a bit of a struggle to find requests that really resonated with me. Although I have to be honest, I'm really annoying, I know. I've never liked being told what to draw. I always think opening requests will be so fun. You guys will do half the work for me, and then I get a bunch of requests, and I'm why are these people telling me what to do? It's really annoying of me, I know. I really need to get it together. I need to figure that out. But as always, fun stuff did come out of the exercise. I picked some limited supplies that I wanted to work with, stuff that wouldn't bleed through the paper, and I really enjoyed this chill, low pressure work that I got to do with you guys, and it ended up making a cute little cohesive spread without me having to use a bunch of brain power. So that was great. Already during this first day, this first drawing session, I was already warming up to my sketchbook again. I wasn't exactly overflowing with ideas. After I finished with the doodles, I definitely just put away the sketchbook for the day and did some other work. But being able to smash out a whole spread really made the entire task feel less daunting, less work, warmed me up to the idea of, being creative again. I am kind of making it sound like I haven't touched my sketchbook in months, and that's definitely not the case. But my recent experiences with my sketchbook have been so detached and emotionless and just not exciting, not memorable. I'm not making work that I love or I'm excited about or keep coming back to. I'm not working with characters or even similar themes or subjects that I'm really inspired by. It all feels like a big blur, and when I flip through the first half of the sketchbook that I've already filled in, I hardly remember doing any of it. None of it is calling out to me as anything special or fun. A lot of it feels like I did it because I had to. Even if I like the drawings or pages themselves, I feel like I'm lacking a connection to them. It doesn't feel like me or mine. It feels like work, schoolwork that I had to do or something. And so even if I've spent every day in my sketchbook the week before I started this whole thing, I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you, I wouldn't remember, because my relationship with it is just not the same. I'm not excited about it, and I'm not enjoying being in it.
story, all tucked away in the back of the room. Been lost for years, far away from the glory, in the midst of our day-to-day routine, in the corner of our minds. We're not in blue, we're not in mourning to raise the truth. It takes more than will. Among the things I like to do, craving is one for two, and the light of the day that passes on will somehow be gone.
This is a page I am so in love with, had so much fun doing, and had actually been itching to do for like a week or two, and doing this video gave me like a reason, an excuse to do it. Like I said, I've been so busy, I haven't had a lot of time or energy for personal art, especially really indulgent and frivolous personal art that can't be used for anything, doesn't serve a purpose, so I had to keep setting this idea aside. And this video, where literally the point was drawing whatever I wanted, I finally got to actually get this onto paper, and it felt great. So, of course, I have been watching The Last of Us. I didn't really know anything about it before the HBO show, but now I've started watching a playthrough of the game. Don't worry, I'm catching up. But yeah, I actually didn't even really plan on watching the show, but my mom used to be really into The Walking Dead, and I like Pedro Pascal because of the Kingsman movie, so I thought, like, why not, right? You know, I needed something new to watch, I needed something to do, and I fell in love right away. I love every actor so far. I've just been super, super into it. And of course, it's throwing me back into like the dystopian-obsessed fiction age of like 2014 or whatever. It's got me in that mindset, and it made me think of my own little zombie apocalypse characters. I have two of them. They're really not fleshed out at all. I made them a few years ago, like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe more. They don't have a story or anything. I just felt like every artist who has characters needs an apocalypse character, right? So, you know, I made my own. I feel like that's just like part of it. And to this day, I really have a soft spot for this one in particular. His name is Kip with 2 P's. Why? I don't know. Genuinely cannot remember why I did that. And I cannot think of a way to justify that name choice now, but I'm attached to it, so I'm not gonna change it. But he's just, you know, a kid. He carries around an axe on his back. Of course, his parents are dead, obviously. All his clothes are either too big or too small. And although there's no storyline, I know he definitely does not survive. There's no way this kid survives. I don't think there's any way any child is going to survive any apocalypse, in my opinion. But yeah, watching The Last of Us has just made me itch to draw my own character again. Like the entire time I was watching, I was just like dying to draw him. And for days now, I've just been thinking about doing it. So it was like really fun to finally get the opportunity. Obviously, I use markers and color pencils, my classic technique, and because it's an OG character of mine, it all felt very old school for me, like using my OG technique in an OG character, you know, going back to my roots. Not that I don't still do this stuff, but it really did feel like I was like channeling the spirit of one of my older sketchbooks, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I think drawing this page and loving the way the drawing turned out really gave me like, I don't know, like permission to like keep doing this kind of stuff. I think this is the kind of art that I've really fallen off doing since starting my Instagram in general, like sharing my art online. And I really miss doing it, but it's just because it's so hard to share. You know, you guys don't know this character, you don't care about him, you're not invested. Maybe you enjoy the process, like of watching me do it, but would my entire audience really be interested in regular content that's entirely self-indulgent on a regular basis? Like, probably not. This isn't something that I can make regular content out of. I can't make prints out of it. So I haven't done this kind of stuff, but now I've done it for this and I enjoyed the process and I love the results so much. It's like, hey, who really cares about all that, right? Like, do it because you like it. I need to make time for art that I just like to do. So today is Tuesday. Yesterday, I don't think you saw me draw at all. And that's because I actually drew somewhere. The only time I drew yesterday was when I was at a place that I could not film. So yesterday I went to my first ever live open studio drawing. I can't call it a class. I keep wanting to call it a class. I got yelled at for calling it a class. I went to an open studio where we did live drawing from a model, and it was such an amazing experience. I'm not gonna talk about it too much here because I want to talk about it in a vlog or whatever. But because there was a nude model, I obviously also was my first time. I did not want to film. I think maybe I'm gonna ask if I can film some other time, but I didn't want to bring my camera, so I obviously could not film. But I will show you what I drew. It was such a good experience. I had so much fun, and I really I thought I was gonna be really bad at it. I'm actually really proud of what I did, what I was able to do. So it was 2 poses for an hour and a half each. So I have 2 drawings, this one, and then I have the second pose, which is this one. They are certainly not perfect. I'm excited to go back and continue to improve. I want to bring a much bigger sketchbook to work in, which I know will be a struggle for me. But it was a really cool experience, and I used up 2 full pages. I'm not gonna add anything else because I think it's it's not a good spread, but it's a moment, I went to this is in a specific place. Am I making sense? I want to keep these pages preserved to the actual event that they were related to, so I'm not gonna add anything else. And that also meant, except for I have 1 page on the back here that I need to fill in, but other than that, I've completed the February section by the last day of February, so that's really nice. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that because you didn't get to see me work on those. I also feel I haven't been doing a good job of actually filming the pages just because I've been really trying to focus on enjoying working in the sketchbook rather than making a good video. Sorry. But everything that I've been working on has been super random and very just gut, what do I feel like doing? And I've been having a good time so far. So yeah, we'll get back to the drawing now. Talk to you later. So on the 4th day of drawing, I honestly wasn't actually going to draw anything, but I was watching TV in the living room with my family and I was like, you know what? I do want to draw. I have the urge, I'm feeling the vibes. Let me take advantage of that while I can. So I went through a few places where I keep inspo on my phone, took screenshots of anything that called to me, and then I went through those screenshots again, to actually decide what do I really want to draw. I ended up on this photo from With Love Lynn that she posted the previous Lunar New Year, and I think it's such a stunning photo. The colors of her makeup, the composition with the flowers, just stunning. So I brought my sketchbook out to the couch and just started drawing her while watching TV. We were watching Sister Wives, by the way, if you're curious. I've seen so much controversy with them lately, and somehow my TikTok feed is just filled with people deep in the Sister Wives lore, and I was like, I gotta know what's going on. I'm so nosy. So we watched a few of the most recent episodes to see what's up and what they're now, and then we started from the beginning and we're analyzing them and their behavior to see how they went from A to Z. It's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. Anyways, I was just doing a little low effort doodle. It wasn't gonna be a huge deal, but I was really enjoying the process, and I was like, you know what I haven't done in a while is use my colored pencils. As colored pencils. So I pulled out my Prismacolors to use, and again, very chill, very slowly, I did a somewhat rendered portrait. But because I'm being selfish here, I'm being self-indulgent, I'm doing what I want to do, I decided I'm only gonna do what I want. So I stopped after the face. I just stopped. I hate doing hair, especially with colored pencils. It's really hard, very tedious, so I just didn't do it. I just didn't do it. I had so much fun with her face. The colors were so pretty, the makeup was so fun. I went ham on the eyes, and overall just had a great time working on this portrait. And I didn't want to ruin that great time with the tedious, boring stuff. And you know what? Even without all that other stuff, without the other details, I still think it looks like a good piece.
We've been sliding since I don't remember when, in and out of consciousness, while others might be stressing out. We rely on our facade to help us out, and it's obvious now. Finally, I know you're gonna underplay it, but it's time to move restless too. We were always far ahead, me and you. And it's obvious now, finally, I know you're gonna underplay it, but it's time to move on from this. We're derailing, and we're not what we used to be. Underplay it, but it's time to move on from this. We're derailing, and we're not what we used to be.
Later that day, I had an epiphany for a piece, specifically for the March Patreon postcard. Now that it's been a week since then, I can't really remember where this idea came from, but I do remember what I was picturing. I wanted to do an open fig with a nice cast shadow on top of a checkered background. Obviously, I knew I would be making this into the postcard, so I had to make sure it was the proper dimensions and all that stuff. It took a few tries with the sketch to get the composition right because it's so simple. It was really easy for it to feel like really off. I also realized, like, at first I was going to do a very flat shadow, like it would be standing straight up on a table with the light shining right down on it, and like right underneath it would be a line of shadow, right? I love that style. I like the way that looks. But then I was like, the checkered background is gonna look really weird. It's gonna look weird as hell. The perspective would be so confusing to have like it would need two planes, right? So instead, I changed the shadow so that it's as if it was like laying flat on a table and we're looking down at it, so the background makes a bit more sense as a flat surface. Of course, it didn't need to be perfect and like fully realistic. Like obviously, it being perfectly flat right now doesn't make sense, but I wanted it to be a bit more graphic and stylized. I didn't need it to make sense, but I did want it to make sense, right? Like I didn't need it to be perfect, but I did want it to be legible. I didn't want it to be a fig floating in space that happens to be checkered. I wanted it to be sitting on a surface. Does that make sense? I don't know. I had a lot of fun drawing this. Again, super indulgent. I just did like what I wanted to do. You know, like I had an idea and I went with it. I made it work. It popped in my head and I saw it through, which is something I have historically really struggled with. But you know what? I think I'm really getting better at it, like a lot, which is super exciting. I'm getting to the point where it's really not as difficult to translate my idea to paper. I'm able to do what I set out to do. Maybe it doesn't like look that good, maybe it was a bad idea, but it is the idea I had, right? Like not some hazy parallel version of it, which is awesome. Like that's something that I've struggled with for a long time. So the fact that I'm like able to actually, I don't know, it's really exciting to me that I'm able to visualize a full piece and then put it on paper and it looks like what I thought it would. Maybe it's ugly, but it's what I had wanted. But yeah, I picked some pretty colors. I was messy when I wanted to be messy. I used fun supplies. I thought about the process but didn't think too hard. It was genuinely really fun, really like simple, like it felt like playing with my supplies. I've been a little worried about my ability to come up with like a good print sticker and originals for Patreon every month. Obviously I know I can, but it is a daunting task. And this month's process being so accidentally easy was so exciting and it filled me with a lot of confidence. However, this is not actually fully representative of what the piece is going to look like as the print. I added some stuff digitally. Specifically, I added like some little starbursts in yellows and reds on the checkers. And I love the way it turned out. Those stars were not part of the original vision, but when I was done with the sketchbook piece, I felt like it was missing something. It wasn't as impactful as I wanted. It was a little like flimsy and flat. And I added a few stars and was like, ooh, slay. And I kept adding them and you know, it felt almost quilty and I really loved that. It was overall such a fun, creative process. It felt really natural. I felt good at what I did, and I felt like it wasn't a battle. You know, it wasn't a struggle to be original or creative or to interpret or adjust. And that was just super, super awesome. On my last big day of working, my last time of like setting down to film and, you know, like being purposeful about working in my sketchbook as homework, as part of this project, I decided I wanted to flip through my old sketchbooks and find some inspiration there. This is something I do semi-frequently. If you watch my videos regularly, you've probably heard me talk about my old sketchbooks before. I tend to romanticize them and then chastise myself for doing so. So I flipped through the books, really enjoyed looking at the old pages, taking a walk down memory lane, and really tried to ask myself, like, what about these pages, these spreads, these drawings do I like so much? I set aside spreads and pictures that I liked, that spoke to me, that felt like something I wanted to recapture or revisit, things that were generally inspiring, spreads that had a good vibe, specific doodles or drawings I wanted to redraw, stuff like that. I started with some little doodles, essentially some warm-ups, copying some doodles and styles that I really liked, and then I just played around with stuff, that felt fun. I followed my gut, followed my impulses, enjoyed embracing the stuff from my old sketchbooks that I missed doing. I think this whole exercise was actually super interesting and a bit eye-opening for me. I have no doubt that in a month I'll be back to square one with this whole thing, like my habit of romanticizing my old sketchbooks. But I think this was still great for me to do for now. Because the truth is, I do romanticize my old sketchbooks. I say all the time how there's something missing from my current sketchbooks, there's a charm to the old ones, but whenever I do actually look at the old sketchbooks, it's like, the art is not as good as I remember. My standards were a lot lower then, the art itself isn't something that I find exciting or good anymore. So why do I keep doing it? Why do I keep talking about those sketchbooks as if they're so great? Like I said, as I was flipping through them, I asked myself that question, and I think I've somewhat figured it out. I think my old sketchbooks are filled with indulgence. They're messy, scribbly, have lots of notes to myself, doodles of my own characters, doodles of things that I was into at the time. They're messy, the pages are cramped, they're eclectic. My current sketchbooks often feel rigid. There are plenty of pages with just one final mark taking up the whole thing. Each little drawing is sequestered to one corner of the page and nothing overlaps. A page is either too themed or not themed enough. There's this element of love and life and messiness missing, I feel. That's not always a bad thing. I do, in general, love the work I've been doing the last few years and the sketchbooks that I've kept. I love that I've gotten to experiment with new mediums, subjects, and styles. I'm thrilled that my skill has developed so much. The truth is, I don't want to and physically can't keep my sketchbooks the same way I used to. For one thing, I don't have the time to sit around all day, every day, drawing in my sketchbook like I used to, and I only used to do that because I was so depressed and I had no life or will to do anything else but that. And of course, time has passed. Things have changed. I'm not the same person, and I just can't do things the exact way I used to. The drawings that I did in this spread are a great example. I tried to exactly copy some of those drawings, but my style is just different now. They ended up looking really different, and that's not a bad thing. So I think if I could find some in between, some balance between the life that I used to pour into my sketchbooks, the randomness and messiness, and then the quote-unquote professionalism that I have to keep now, knowing that these sketchbooks are a huge part of my career and I have limited time to work in them. If I could just get out of my head a bit more and remember to actually enjoy the process, I think that would be great. And as I've said before, my relationship with my sketchbook will never be the exact same as it once was. I will never rely on my sketchbooks like I used to, and I don't want to. But I do want to work on creating a relationship that's happy and excited and carefree again. And I think this page is actually a great example of that being possible. I think it embodies a lot of that vibe that I've struggled to capture before from my old sketchbooks. The messiness, the randomness, the collage feel, but it's still very current for me. It's still possible for me to do this without giving up the things I've found that I love and enjoy now.
And I wouldn't say that it's been a hard time. With you it's always easy as can be. I could wait a long, long time to prove that I am true. I hope you believe me. I will stay and never go away. Another time we could have been like strangers, turning as we passed along the street. In another place where none of this would matter, days have passed and wishes have been lost. I could wait a long, long time to prove that I am true.
So it's the 4th, it's a Saturday, which technically that means I went a week. However, I think listen, my timeline is so messed up. I did not keep track at all. I was trying so desperately to figure out like which days did I do which art. I think I only drew 4 or 5 days. I really don't know. But I think I made actually really good progress in the sketchbook. I only have a few spreads left until my final one, which is really handy. And I really enjoyed what I did. Like I had a lot of fun. It was really nice to just give myself the homework of spending time in my sketchbook and just enjoying it, you know? Obviously there was some amount of pressure because it's not like I was just letting myself do literally whatever I wanted all week. Like I was making myself work in my sketchbook, but it wasn't like trying to do specific things. I could do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I could be like as lazy as I wanted. Like I left some drawings behind. I didn't try on some. I was just super indulgent. Just whatever I felt like doing, whatever my gut wanted to do. If I was inspired by something, I ran with it. I copied old artwork. I had a really good time. It was really nice to just do whatever I wanted. I feel like I haven't really had that opportunity. That's not true, but like sometimes I just get in my own head about it all, especially for my sketchbook. So it was really nice to go back to basics and I really enjoyed it. I don't think my relationship with my sketchbooks has been fully healed, but this in general was very healing. Like I feel like this was a great step forward and hopefully it will allow me to be a bit more, loose and silly in my sketchbooks going forward. I feel like I learned a lot about what I value in my old sketchbooks, why I romanticize them so much. And I also feel like I've sparked a few things that I would like to keep experimenting with. And I just feel like creative juices were really flowing. Not always, like there were times that I was literally just copying old stuff, but like near the end, I was feeling like when I just let myself loose and like don't set up expectations for myself and let myself do really bad stuff, like it leads so much it's easier for that to lead to fun, cute ideas that I really like, I went through a lot more of the pages than I thought I would, and I think I ended up liking a lot more of the work than I thought I would. I thought it would be a lot of like kind of bad stuff, but I actually like a lot of it. I did make the Patreon print and I figured out the idea for the sticker. I haven't drawn it yet. And I don't think I made anything print worthy, but I did do a lot of stuff that just like really was good for me. My soul, my creativity. So yeah, I'm gonna count this as a success. Like I said, it wasn't necessarily a challenge, but it was just like a little short-term goal. And I think I did what I wanted to do. So good job me. If you have any ideas of like sketchbook related challenges that you'd like to see me do, let me know. I would love to hear them. I like giving myself motivators to work in my sketchbook, especially now that my art career has expanded much further beyond my sketchbook. I sometimes need reasons to like work in it, so let me know. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I had a great time. I really want to come back to this, like in the future when I'm like kind of in a rut, don't have video ideas, don't have art ideas. I think this is a great thing to do. It's just like a week in my sketchbook. Here's the art that I'm doing this week. It makes me work in my sketchbook, spark some creativity, and it's like, 2 for 1, content and the stuff that I was gonna make anyway. Yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, the whole shebang. You know what to do. I will see you next time. Go eat some waffles, check out my Skillshare class, and go to some art. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.